Hello, I'm Ken from Review Districts. This wasn't planned to be our first video, but the Pokemon Direct came out, I think, 4 days ago, about 4 days ago, Singapore time. So after digesting all the information, I decided to give this opinion thing a try instead of uh, starting with our review videos. I've been a long time Pokemon fan, so after this sort of long introduction, let's begin reacting to the video.
Welcome to Pokemon
Okay,
Direct.
I said reacting,
I'm
but
Ishihara
I'm
from the
going to
Pokemon
be more like
Today,
skimming through because
I
you have
would like
probably
to
seen
provide
many
the latest
reactions by now
news
from
about
people
the
much more
Pokemon
famous than me.
Sword and
I will just
Pokemon
be
Shield
putting my
games.
opinions and inputs and some things I've
To begin,
discovered along the way
Please
by
take a look at this video.
watching this direct a couple of times already. Okay, so this was the first video reviewed to us. It showed us more of the steampunk style UK style region. I actually quite like this style of Pokemon as it gives a sort of fresh feel to Pokemon, and it brings it sort of back to like the style of Kalos but more steampunk. Okay, so this is one of the sort of strange part about this direct, which is at this start here, you saw that you can encounter Pokemon in the grass without them showing up in the overworld. But later on in the trailer, they focus more on Pokemon walking around in just like in Pokemon Let's Go. One theory that I have is, so as you can see here, right, the theory is that some areas you can only run into Pokemon randomly, and some areas you can only run into them in the overworld. Because in this area, right, you see it looks sort of like the beginning part of like Route 1 in Sun and Moon and Route 2 of Pokemon X and Y. So I surmise that it could be not part of the wild area that I mentioned later on in the trailer. Okay, so I'll just be skipping forward a bit because I don't think you all want to just watch the whole direct. You can just do that yourself at Pokemon on Nintendo's channel. We see here a lot of Pokemon: Golurk, Duskull, Stuffle, Bounsweet, Butterfree, Corviknight, which was mentioned later on, Ghastly down right here. There's a castle, which is one of the aspects that I really love about this region, because I really like castles. If you go back a few frames, Snover, Rhydon in the Sandstorm, which links back to what they say about the weather later on. Frillish, Gyarados, Mudsdale, Seismitoad, Tyranitar. In a sort of this place sort of reminds me of the Sandstorm area in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire and Emerald, which was one of my favorite games of all time. Avalok, Halucha, Milotic, Mantike, and a steampunk like castle, like a mechanical castle, reminding me of the Volcania movie. Fishing returns, berry trees return. Oh, okay, so this, okay, the bike returns, which also means that, yeah, some people have pointed out a joke, which is just point it out. Hold on. Yeah, right here. So if anyone remembers the Gen 1 and Gen 3 days, the earlier gens, when you cycle in somewhere you're not supposed to cycle, Professor will say there's a time and place for you to do that. Yeah, I don't think he'll be happy with this scene. But yeah, so unfortunately, Pokemon riding does not return from Pokemon Sun and Moon, or from Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Yeah, okay, this scene right here, this whistling scene, it looks to be some sort of mechanic that could be reminiscent of the what's that, the sneaking up mechanic from Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I think it could be some sort of new method to hunt for shiny, so shiny hunters beware. Yeah, so these are these different beacon of lights, which mentioned later on, will be the places you can encounter and battle with up to 4 players online, thank god. uh, with up to 4 players, as I mentioned earlier. Max raid battles, yes, raid battles are finally back in a main game for the first time. As a Pokemon Go fan, I'm really happy that this aspect came from Pokemon Go. Okay, so they just run, they show the Dynamax Pokemon and more bracelets. From this scene you can see that there are many different trainer customization, just like in Kalos, which is a good thing. The expressions are also way better than Pokemon Sun and Moon, which was a joke where in fact a lot of the characters had pretty good facial animations, except for the player itself, who was just smiling throughout the entire thing, even when, when the world was going to end. I'll skip through this. Raichu appears also. So let's see. A gigantic Premier Ball. Let's skip through this. And here's our first good look at the gym leader, who looks like his body went through puberty but his face did not. Dynamax battle in the gym. Eldegoss, Grookey. That looks like it could be Solar Beam or some sort of new move. It's probably Razor Leaf. It's probably Bubble Beam or Water Gun. That's a good question. What that could be? That could be, I don't know. Incinerate power up version. Max Incinerate. I'll first look at this guy, the champion, who reminds me sort of like if Stephen Curry had long hair and shaved his beard off through the middle. Right, let's skip forward through this. Grookey, Skullbunny, Sobble. Yeah, I'll just state that I'm choosing between Team Grookey and Team Skullbunny for now. Sorry, Sobble fans. Yeah, we get a better look at the Pokemon region. Here we see Gossifleur in the previous scene, Badu, and then it looks like this scene with the Badu looks like it could be a bank or some sort of reception for like maybe the Game Freak office in this game. Lighthouse.
Pokemon battles are the most popular
Woodhammer. Grookey is confirmed to be a useful hammer. Grabin Pancham returns as well.
Stadiums across the Galar region are frequently filled with cheering crowds that have gathered to witness battles.
Right, so I'm gonna skip through this. Okay, so now we are back at the art director. It's interesting that the art director is actually a Caucasian or Angmo in Singaporean terms. Because to my knowledge, I thought that Pokemon or Game Freak will only hire Japanese. Maybe I can work at Game Freak. Haha.
The first Pokemon I'd like to show you.
Wooloo is like the new fluffy sensation in the Pokemon community. I have no idea where the name come from. Obviously wool come from wool, and then maybe they just decided to add 2 O's at the back. I don't know.
Wooloo. This Pokemon's defining characteristic is its fluffy fur.
Yeah,
which is treasured by weavers.
That's why it's wool.
In the Galar region.
Yes.
Who use it to craft popular specialty goods. This Pokemon here is Gossifleur.
Initially, I thought that Gossifleur was, gossip and flower, but from the Pokédex description that he says now,
Flowering Pokemon. Gossifleur favors places with clean air and water, and its pollen is said to have healing properties.
Yeah, so that cannot be the case. It could be some sort of some sort of plant that I'm not aware of. Fleur is the French word for flower, so that's why it
This
is.
next Pokemon is called Dreadnought.
Amazing name, by the way. Dreadnought obviously comes from the word dread, D-R-E-A-D, but they shorten it, and Gnaw, G-N-A-W. Because you have the dread, it's Gnaw. Get it? Haha, I get it.
A
Pokemon.
bite Pokemon.
It could possibly be
The sharp
Dark
and
type.
jagged edges of its jaw
Dark
allow it
type
to
or
bite
maybe
off
rock
chunks
type.
Of rock and iron. Its
I thought it was
vicious
electric
nature
type because of
makes
the
it a
design on
difficult
his head,
Pokemon
but
to
it
tame
doesn't look
for
so.
all but the most experienced trainers.
Could be normal type also.
This Pokemon that can be seen flying steadily
And now
through the
Covered
sky
Knight flies in.
is called Corviknight.
It's a Raven Pokemon, yes. Corviknight. Knight, obviously, I don't know what Corvi stands for though. I think it's some sort of. It's probably some prefix from a bird. It could be Dark type. It's probably Dark type. It could be Steel type or it could be part flying. But it looks definitely Dark type because the red eyes and the dark design.
It puts its skills to use when working as a flying taxi, which will take the player
Flying
back
taxi.
to any town he or
Ah, I see. That's why it's on the perch. I mean, not a perch. That looks like a cable car, except without the cable. I guess it carries the player through the sky through that cable, I guess. It's interesting to note that it's actually 7 feet tall. As you can see, it's huge. It's huge compared to the 2 humans standing below it. Oh my god. I just can't imagine, man. A 7 feet crow.
No, some Pokemon can evolve.
Yes, some
changing their
Pokemon
appearance
can
and
evolve.
becoming
We do know
stronger
that.
in the process. Gossifleur is one of these
And
Pokemon.
and we get our first look at the evolution
Gossifleur
animation,
evolves,
which looks more sparkly than normal, but otherwise the same.
it becomes Eldegoss.
A dandelion Pokemon, hooray!
As you can see, there are now small seeds scattered across its fuzzy
Yes,
head.
Eldegoss is obviously
These seeds
an
are
elder
said to
and
promote
whatever
growth
plant
in
Goss
plants and
comes
can
from.
revitalize both people and Pokemon. That's all I can show you.
I'm
this
sort of
time.
disappointed it didn't show off the
There are a lot-
evolutions, but okay, let's move on. Okay, so next they're going to be talking about the wild areas, which I stated.
Meeting lots of Pokemon is one of the widest variety of Pokemon.
Yeah, oh yeah.
This wild area stretches between
Yeah, so-
cities and is filled with abundant.
Of course, in other Pokemon games it's called routes, but in this game, I guess they call it wild areas. Because, as you can see, it actually doesn't have any straight path. You can cross the bridge, or you can go around the lake, or that even further down, there's another body of water which you can go around. So, in this aspect, you can see later on. Hold on,
You
let's see breviary. Hi.
Some of you may already
Okay,
have
so
better
here.
search for items
I
and
will overlay an image here to show you. It looks extremely similar to their debut trailer of Breath of the Wild for the Nintendo Switch, where the
have control over the camera,
Because-
allowing you to better search for items and Pokemon.
yeah. So
Search
okay, going back to my previous point.
the weather is like, meaning there will be mist. But while adventuring through this area, you have control over the camera, allowing you to pass in
Yeah, so in this another scene, you can see there are multiple pathways to go. So instead of calling different routes, they decided to call it wild areas, probably because now they make it more open world and you have more different paths to travel to go to the other side. As you can see, you can't actually see many trainers during this wild area. So I'm assuming that probably wild areas refer to open areas where you are allowed to roam about. And also, they also mentioned that you can have camera control here, but I'm not sure if you can have camera control inside the cities. That's the one thing I'm a bit worried about.
In certain locations in the Galar region, a new phenomenon can be triggered that makes a Pokemon giant in size and gives it incredible strength. This phenomenon is called Dynamax.
The new battery coming to a store near you. No, but seriously, the first thought I had when I saw Dynamax was that it sounds like Duracell or Energizer, the battery brands here found here in Singapore. I don't know if anyone else had the same idea. But other people thought it sounded like, you know, vacuum cleaner, or for me, I thought it could also sound like a detergent brand, because, you know, yeah, basically. Okay, let's continue. So
And their Pokemon.
while some people, okay, let's
more
skip
detail-
forward. So basically, as you can see here, in summary, Dynamax is just making your Pokemon big. However, I have to applaud them for actually thinking this through, not like Mega Evolution. Mega Evolution, the only limit is that you can use it on one Pokemon per battle, right? So in Dynamax, however, while the Pokemon becomes super strong, you would think that, oh no, it's broken again, just like Mega Evolution and Z moves. However, you can only use it for 3 turns. After 3 turns, you'll revert to normal. So I have to applaud them for actually balancing it for the competitive community. And while people say that this is very, oh my god, Gen 6 Mega Evolution, okay, cool, your Pokemon digivolves. Then after that, Gen 7, oh, you can use your final move, Z move, like the final super move, once per battle. Cool. Dynamax, oh no, you can grow big. However, hate to break it to you, but actually, right, in the Pokemon anime in Gen 3, I think Pokemon Advance, Ash Trico actually grew super duper big as a result of an experiment gone wrong to battle another huge Pokemon. So this is not actually the first time they thought of this idea. Back in Gen 3, there was already this idea for the Pokemon anime. So they could have drawn from that and brought it to the new generation, because back then maybe they thought it wasn't suitable, or maybe they didn't think about this yet, because back then the new mechanics were double battles. So, well, yeah, you can't really say it's a new idea. Okay, let's skip forward through this. They're talking about more Dynamax, and then after that they talk about the max rate battles, which I've already talked about. It's cool that you can finally play multiplayer co-op with your friends instead of just beating each other up on online. So that's cool. I'm just curious how the catching will work. If one person catches it, does everyone catch it, or does only the leader get it? That's the curious part. Hopefully it's one catch all have, but they also mentioned that only one person can Dynamax. So how do you decide which person Dynamax? Is there some way to communicate? Please don't tell me through the Switch Online app. It's not bad anymore after the new update, but okay, in my review I will detail more, but the Switch Online app isn't exactly suitable, especially since only for Mario Kart I believe you can talk to strangers. Other than that, you can't. Okay, so here they're talking about how Pokemon only certain Pokemon can appear during certain weather conditions, which I don't really have much to talk about. It says enough for itself. Yes. So here we get introduced to the
His
characters.
name is Leon.
I've already stated enough about Leon. Okay, let's move on.
In a region where Pokemon battles are so widely enjoyed, his undefeated record in official matches is
I would like to state that after checking Bulbapedia, the official height for Charizard is 1.7. So either Leon is super tall at like 1.9, like Stephen Curry, haha, or his Charizard is super small, or they just forgot. Because in the later scene, as you can see here, right,
personality, winning him the adoration of trainers across the region. It's no exaggeration to
when
say
his
that
Charizard
he
is
the most
standing,
prominent trainer in all of
yeah,
Galar.
where Charizard is just standing there,
It's no exaggeration to say that
it's so much shorter than him. So
he is the most prominent trainer in all of
I
Galar.
don't know what this says about his height.
The champion has a younger brother who also happens to be one of your rivals. His name is Hawk.
Okay, so a lot of people give a lot of hate to this character because he's another looks like friendly rival. But I think that the dynamic that he's the younger brother of a champion, not like the other rivals you have, who is like, oh, just your neighbor or the professor's granddaughter slash grandson, or Hao, who's the Kahuna's grandson. He's the champion, the strongest trainer's brother. It has some interesting. I don't think Pokemon's gonna do anything with it, but there's potential for this character to have maybe some issues about his status that could turn up in the story. I hope, but I don't think that'll ever happen. It's a Pokemon game after all.
He trains vigorously every day towards this goal. His journey through the Galar region begins on the same day as yours. On your journey, you and Hop will receive a great deal of support from these two characters. Professor Magnolia is the professor of the Galar region and specializes in research.
Another three-name professor, a female professor, finally another female professor after Professor Juniper in Gen 5. Yeah, the second female professor.
The Dynamax phenomenon. Sonia is her granddaughter and also serves as her
The now new bae of every Pokemon fan who watched the direct. I quite like her design actually. She looks very
Your
cheerful.
abundant wisdom and sound advice will surely come in handy throughout your adventure.
Just an interesting note,
Abundant wisdom
the
and sound
the necklace on Professor Magnolia's around her neck is diamond shaped. Could it be a Z crystal? By the way, her cane has a Corviknight on it, which is a pretty cool touch.
advice will surely come in handy throughout your adventure.
I'm disappointed that this is just a gym, by the way.
Next, I would like to talk about the Pokemon gyms in the Galar region. You and your rival will need to take on the Pokemon gyms throughout the region in order to achieve your goal of becoming champion. These gym stadiums are constructed in very special locations that allow for Pokemon to be
Yeah, that's a pretty cool that they actually thought about it this time. Back in Gen 1, Brock's gym was so small, but he had an Onyx.
on their teams, so you will need to counter them with some of your own.
That means, since this is supposedly the first gym, that means that Dynamax is probably given super duper early in the game.
And will cause the energy and excitement in the stadium to
This
reach its
mushroom
peak.
move looks it looks like a new move actually. Or it could be just
Battles
growth.
between two Dynamax Pokemon are explosive and will cause the energy and
No, it's not.
excitement in
It's
the
a
stadium
attack from Eldegoss. I wonder what that is. I can't think of any move that matches the animation.
to reach its peak. Let me introduce one of the gym leaders to you. This is the grass type.
When I first saw Milo, my first thought was, oh no. I don't know if everyone gets this joke, but Milo is a drink by Nestle here in Singapore and Asia in general. So I started laughing. Yeah, I'll pull up a picture here, and somehow it's green, so actually it's funny.
battles
But
alongside
that
its
aside,
trustworthy Pokemon.
his looks have
You will
already
have to
gained a lot
overcome
of
his tenacious fighting style to continue
a
your
lot
journey.
of memes and jokes around it.
Look forward to facing many more heated battles
Alright,
against gym leaders
so
over the course
let's
of your
get to
adventure.
the legendary dogs. Zamazenta and Zacian. Just saying, I actually do sort of like their design, but the fact that the dog's holding a sword in its mouth instead of like it being blades, or I don't know, like sort of like septile blades on its front legs or front paws, if you will, it's kind of sad. But I love Zamazenta's design. On the other hand, the shield design incorporated into its design is pretty cool. And here we get a tease of the third Pokemon in the trio. Okay,
The Galar region, called Zacian and
so Zacian, right? Some people say it looks like Okami with a sword, but you know what? I think the color scheme and the fact there's a dog reminds me more of Galgamon from Digimon, the 5th Digimon series. Yeah, Digimon Data Squad. Yes, that's the name. So I'll pull up a picture here. You see, it looks kind of similar enough that it reminds me of that with a sword, of course. But other than that, actually, I pretty like the design. They're probably steel type, not maybe normal steel type, but that would be a bit weird. But yeah, maybe they'll be fast steel types for Zacian. Zacian will be a fast steel type, I presume, and then Zamazenta will be a slow but more tanky version because it's a shield. Then probably Zamazenta is probably more defense, and then Zacian is more offense oriented. Alright. Before I go, I would like to end off with one of my favorite memes about this, which is related to before these two cover art came out, right? The two cover art I saw was of Pokemon Sword Raphtalia and Pokemon Shield is Naofumi from Rising of the Shield Hero. So I'll just like to give a shout out to that meme. And with that, thank you for your attention and this rather long, almost half an hour video. And I'll see you in our next video. See you. Bye.